Hi everyone, today we are looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Series Gung Ho action figure. A closer look at the box, you can see he's labeled 7 on the top. On the bottom, some Hasbro product information. And on the side, some pretty cool artwork of Gung Ho in the middle of a tropical war scene. Moving on to the back, we see more of the standard epic G.I. Joe art as well as the warnings in the different languages. And on the last side, you can see a couple of his skill badges, possibly some over here for tropical warfare, and then a badge for good strengths in unarmed combat. So let's go ahead and get him open. And out of the box, you can see the action figure and his weapons as well as his backpack held in place on the plastic tray, this time without any tape. Gung Ho comes with 3 rifles and a backpack. The backpack is cast in army green with details for the straps and buckles, as well as texturing for the fabric. He's got some rails on the sides and the bottom for the rifle stowage. And on the other side, he has a peg. To get his backpack on, you gotta align the hole in his vest with the hole in his back, and then push the peg in. First rifle that we are looking at looks like an automatic one. All rifles are cast nicely in the metallic looking plastic. It comes with interesting details for the hand grips, a rail at the top, and the magazine in the back. There's also a couple more details on the other side, nicely sculpted as well. So all these rifles are unpainted. I would have appreciated a few hits of paint just to bring out the details even better. He holds the automatic rifle well in his 2 hands, but because of the relatively short length of the rifle over here between the 2 hand grips, as well as some of the hindrance from the vest preventing the 2 arms coming too close together, you might find getting this pose a little bit difficult to achieve. Next up is a shotgun looking weapon with similar interesting details, the rails on the barrel, the hand grips, as well as the butt. And moving on to the other side, more details as well. Again, paint would have been appreciated just to make them look more interesting. And he holds the shotgun well in his 2 hands. I just switched over to the left side just to see what he looks like left-handed. And lastly here we have what looks like an automatic grenade launcher. The hand grip and the butt looks like quite an extraordinary design. And moving on to the other side, we see more details as well. And because of the interesting shape of the hand grips on this grenade launcher, it's a little difficult to get his hands to grip them properly. But once you do, he looks pretty good holding the grenade launcher with 2 hands. So if you look at his backpack, you notice that the rails on the right side are narrower than the rails on the left side. So essentially, with the shotgun being thicker than the assault rifle, the shotgun will fit on the left side while the assault rifle will fit nicely on the right side. Finally, for the last rail at the bottom, I don't really know how to fit the automatic grenade launcher into there. This looks kind of silly, and I suppose if you fit the shotgun slightly higher up, you can kind of squeeze the automatic grenade launcher in the bottom like so. But it doesn't really fit so securely. So that's a bit of a bummer. That last bit of ineffective storage aside, I think he still looks good with his 2 rifles stored in his backpack and then him holding his automatic grenade launcher. Taking a closer look at the figure itself, I would say his cap is the first thing that stands out to me because it looks so plain and bland compared to all the other details and paint on him. Zooming into the cap, you can see it sculpted with a little bit of the fabric creases as well as the seams. These are nice details, but perhaps it needed a stronger wash to bring them out. He also has a Sergeant Major rank on his cap. However, it really needs some black paint for you to notice it, just like on the package art. So I fixed the rank myself by taking a fine-tipped Sharpie to it. Looks better to my eye right now, but let me know what you think in the comments below. His cap is actually a separate piece and stays on just fine. Removing it, we see that he's got a nice marine jar head haircut, nicely sculpted to show the texture of the hair as well as sharply painted with none of the brown bleeding out. Moving on to the face sculpt, this is where I think the figure really shines for me. He's got a really sharp high resolution digital print for his face. The wrinkles and contours in his face are sculpted really well to show his age and experience in the battlefield as a senior sergeant major in the Marines. The wrinkles on his forehead and around his deep set eyes are particularly telling of that. And then his horseshoe mustache is sculpted nicely to show the texture of facial hair, sharply painted with none of the brown coming out, and is really reminiscent of the 80s wrestler facial hair. The asymmetric design of the vest also looks really interesting, with hits of paint just to show off a shoulder pad on his right side, as well as a G.I. Joe communicator, black for the straps, as well as some silver to show off some metallic detail. He's got pouches on the lower right side, as well as some other straps and pockets on the left, plus some army green grenades on his left shoulder. On his left arm, he has an elbow pad made of soft plastic, and this kind of reminds me of the WWE Mattel wrestler action figures. He's got painted gloves on both his hands. On his back, more metallic paint to show off the panel detail on the vest. And on his lower right arm, a nice silver metallic piece of armor with a high-tech looking device strapped to it. And on his chest, he's got a very sharply applied temple just to show off the tattoo. He's got wings and an army dagger down the middle. This is quite an intriguing detail to put on him, just to show his commitment to the cause. He's got a black belt with a silver buckle. And on his pants, you can see there's a camel pattern. And strangely, the pattern on his hips doesn't quite connect with that on his legs, and that's the same on his left side as well. So the camo pattern on his hips ends up looking a little bit odd. He's got a leg strap with a couple of flashbangs strapped to it, sculpted entirely in black. Moving on to his legs, he's got nicely painted shin armor. The shin armor also has straps on the back, and he also has some generic looking black color boots. And messing around with the figure, I realized you can actually pop his hands off and then remove all the gear that's on him, basically leaving just a blank body and his camo pants. So this could be quite a nice figure for customizers to pick up. For articulations, he's got a ball hinge at the top part of his neck as well as a ball in the lower part of his neck, so he can look down pretty well as well as looking up. And then some nice sideways tilt. He's got swivel hinge shoulders that go around as well as out that much. Of course, it's hindered on the right side by the shoulder pad, so he can't move his arm all the way around. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, not really hindered much by the elbow pad. Swivel at the wrist as well as the hinge that goes in and out. And that crunch at the torso as well as a ball at the hip, not hindered by the vest, so he can get a pretty deep crunch. And then some pretty good backward bend as well. 360 waist rotation, just a little bit of the drop down effect at the hips. He can move his legs forward and back that much, as well as a pretty good sideways split. He's got an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees that go beyond 90 degrees, a calf swivel at the boot, a lot of downward ankle articulation but not much upwards, and then a generous ankle tilt outwards as well as inwards. And so the overall articulation scheme can let you get him into a pretty good range of action poses for the battlefield. Size-wise, up to the tip of his cap, he stands at 17 centimeters or about 6 3/4 inches. For size comparisons, here he is with Duke and Scarlet, Red Ninja, Arctic Mission Storm Shadow, and Cobra Commander, Articulator Icons Ninjas, and some Marvel Legends. I initially thought that Gung would be the peg warmer of the wave, but he has a couple of interestingly cool elements about him. Even though I'm thrown off by three things. Firstly, the dull looking cap as compared to the rest of his sculpt and paint. Secondly, the backpack doesn't store the grenade launcher well. And thirdly, he's mostly mold reused from Roadblock. His face sculpt is phenomenal, and Hasbro absolutely nailed it to show Gung as an experienced and battle-hardened Sergeant Major. There are distinct features about him like the cap that fits great and the chest tattoo that brings out aspects of his character. I'm on the fence about recommending him for the casual collector, but if you're a G.I. Joe fan, then you have to get him because he's the team's original Marine. Please like, comment, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and take care.